My BF stayed friend with a girl who assaulted him for 7 months and I only heard of it today. So for context, me and my BF are currently long distance. Last year we broke up due to the distance and some other things he was doing I was not comfortable with. He would invite girls he just met over or go sleep at theirs. They were 2 girls from our country that he met abroad, and it made me very uncomfortable and I communicated that to him but he would always brush me off so I decided to end for it was really hard as it is. But after a month or so we talked again we still had feelings for each other and he apologized numerous times for the things he did and promised to no longer cross any boundary we set in our relationship so I gave us another chance since I love him so much. So far we're good. We talked about the month of breakup and if there were any flings or hookups. I told him I went on a Tinder date but nothing more and he told me that he had nothing whatsoever. For the next year our relationship was good, healthy for most part of it, aside from me being very uncomfortable with him hanging out with one of the 2 girls, let's call her Jess, and I asked him to no longer text me while he was with her since she gave me a weird vibe and he would always disappear online whenever she's there but not when with other people. Until he broke all ties with her 7 months after we got back together. Fast forward to today, my BF confessed to me that while we were broken up he invited the other girl over to smoke some weed with Jess, since she was basically living with him at the time because she didn't find a house yet, and this was since before the breakup. Anyway, my BF and the other girl smoked. Jess didn't as he said. That night my BF smoked so much, he was at a very bad place mentally due to the breakup and all. He said the other girl went home and from then, it's blank, he doesn't remember anything. He woke up the next day and found Jess next to him in bed. He was shocked and asked her what happened and she said that he didn't mind her sleeping next to him and that they made out. My BF never let anyone sleep in his bed before so this was very strange to him. He says he was disgusted and just left the house that day. Hearing this broke my heart. My BF was assaulted and she just got away with it. It made me sad that he lied to me before that nothing happened, but I understood completely that it's very sensitive and he probably wasn't ready to open up about it. But what intrigued me was the fact that he stayed in contact with her for 7 months after we got back together. He went to her house several times, he smoked with her again and treated her like a normal friend and I don't know what else since they all live abroad. I remember communicating my concerns about Jess in those 7 months but all he did was reassure me and just continue to hang out with her. Until the other girl had an argument with her and cut all ties that he also cut all ties with her. I couldn't understand this. How can you still trust someone who assaulted you and be around them? He told me that when the incident happened he talked about it with his friends and he was aware that it was indeed assault since he was very vulnerable, so high, and she took advantage of that. I was intimate assaulted before and the moment I realized what it was I cut off that person instantly and it was my ex at the time. So why did he stay friends with her even though she was a very recent friend, not his type of fun friend and has a very different dynamic, despite me, his GF, being very uncomfortable with the idea of him hanging out with her. Can someone explain this behavior please? Also should I bring it up to him or just ignore it? Comment. Ick. I'm having a hard time believing that he doesn't remember anything that happened that night. Weed doesn't make you black out like alcohol does. And with the way he reacted and stayed friends with her, I'm not so sure what happened was assault or unwanted. I would definitely. It makes zero sense. Weed doesn't do that, you don't black out, you don't forget what happened. So that's a lie. And if that's a lie, then what else has he lied about? It's actually very common. Think about all the domestic violence out there and spouses who live with it. In some ways, men have a harder time admitting they were wronged. It took me years to come to terms that my first kiss was intimate assault. Very similar. I was passed out from alcohol. I woke up to the taste of an ashtray in my mouth and a girl I had no interest in on top of me. But I felt pinned down from the alcohol and really couldn't move. Men are conditioned to think that this behavior from women is acceptable. That we should actually be honored someone showed interest in us like that. When my wife asked about my first kiss her jaw dropped. She told me to reverse the genders in my head and imagine if that was a guy on top of a drunk girl. Story 2. My girlfriend is emotionally cheating on me, I think. For context, me and my girlfriend have been dating for a little under a year. She has BPD so that comes with many problems including lying sometimes, but I thought that we had moved past this in our relationship. Around 3 months into our relationship, I caught her hiding and deleting messages with a guy she used to talk to. He was flirting with her but she wasn't flirting back, but she did tell him she was single. She offered never to talk to him again after I found out. She was very remorseful and seemed to understand what was wrong. Only to find out around 2 months later she was still Snapchatting and DMing this guy on Insta, not a lot but still a few messages here and there. This time she blocked him for real, and every time he attempted to reach out to her again she would tell me about it. Her reasoning was that she wanted to be friends with him still but thought I wouldn't like it, like yeah maybe I wouldn't but I'd rather you talk to me about it. Anyways, she's hid things from me other times, but this was the first big thing. Flash forward to like 3 weeks ago, she was having a BPD breakdown and being honestly pretty verbally/emotionally abusive, so I snapped and broke up with her. The next morning I had more clarity and when she asked me if I really meant it, I said I wasn't sure. This left us in a bit of a gray area. We were still the same together and spending a lot of time together. It was obvious we were still together but complicated and we wanted to work this out. We both explicitly understood this, and I even asked her out again. One night after we got back from going out, I snooped through her phone for the first time in a while. I was drunk and feeling weird about something that happened while we were out, and checked Bumble on her phone. I found out she had Bumble BFF on her phone a while ago. She hid the fact that was on there to make friends and I was like WTF, why didn't you just tell me? Like just weird. Anyways, first of all this new friend she met that she told me she met at school, was actually from Bumble. Second of all, she was on the dating side of Bumble. I was so confused and upset. She had made a whole separate profile for it, and had a match with a man. Her explanation was that she was just curious and bored at the time, and had only swiped once or twice. It was also shortly after I kinda broke up with her, but keep in mind nothing changed between us. She said there was also a small part of her that was angry towards me breaking up with her, so it was partly lashing out. She then said she just forgot to delete it after. To be fair, there was only one match, but I was still very upset. I considered this to be cheating itself and she understood, was very apologetic and I could just tell she felt really bad. Anyways, I told her I need space. The whole time she's calling and texting me about how she's been falling apart, telling me how much she hates herself for this, how bad she feels, etc. And truth be told I believe her. BPD does greatly affect her and distorts her thinking. She is aware of this and is currently pursuing therapy. Here's what makes it so much worse. We were on the phone yesterday because she wanted to hear my voice, and I tell her I can't shake the feeling that something else has happened. She ends up confessing to me that a guy friend that she recently met, who she hadn't disclosed to that she's in a relationship, put his arm around her, twice, and the second time she left it there, until I called her around a minute later. WTF. She said she has never hung out with him alone or anything, but I saw her DMing this same guy on Insta, asking him to come to her building to study and I think the texts just had a weird kind of flirtatious tone. Turns out she deleted messages before that of him flirting with her and sending her weird memes, calling her pretty eyes and such, and she just went along with it. I haven't seen the DMs yet but they're currently being recovered so she can show me. Prior to this, I had a weird feeling about this guy and expressed this to her many times. She told me I had nothing to worry about, he's just a friend, he probably knows we're dating. I invited her over last night. I was just feeling so sad and wanted to be held. I was also horny but I don't want to give her the wrong idea. I don't trust her very much anymore but I can't help but love and want her more than anyone. I really want our relationship to work but I don't know if she's ever going to be honest with me, so I don't know if it's realistic. The way she's acting afterwards has honestly been reasonable. She's very remorseful, accepted what she's done is wrong, set up a therapy appointment, offered me her passwords, etc. She's just been very apologetic and acknowledges my anger and sadness. But what if it's a mind game? She's been like this before but I believe every time after she's genuine. So I don't know what to think or do anymore. I think I just needed to get this all off my chest. I've never had a connection or attraction to someone like this, and besides all this I love so many aspects of her. I feel devastated as despite everything she still feels like the only person in the world. Story 3. My girlfriend says she's bored of our relationship. Is it worth staying or leaving? For context, we've been together for 2 years, we both met each other's parents and both parents are connected with us. For the past week I've had family from out of the country over by my house so our communication has cut down a bit, as I was spending time with them. I've noticed that she hasn't been herself lately and no matter how much I ask she wouldn't say. I thought it was just that she missed us communication as often as we used to. Last night she finally told me, I told her that I have something to rant to her about, work-related, and I could see the uninterested look in her face. She expressed that sometimes when I come to her and rant or complain about something it annoys her, and she becomes upset about it. She said that 5/7 days for the week it's me ranting about my bad work experiences. Keep in mind, I always ask her how was her day and what did she do, but she would never ask me how was my day. She said that she didn't know how to tell me, but she gets upset about me coming to her with problems. I try not to bombard her with issues. I go to her to rant about something stupid that got me upset, because in all honesty, I would love if someone asks me how was work and ask if I had a good day, but I got none of that for some time. She then went on to say that there is another problem. She told me that she's becoming bored with what we do, and that I need to be more outgoing. She went to a wedding this weekend with her friends and she said that it was great. She was dancing and enjoying herself all night, and she said that she felt guilty and didn't know how to tell me that she had fun, to which I responded, "It's okay to have fun without me because we are two separate human beings. I'm not going to get upset if you have fun. I'll be happy to hear that you enjoyed yourself." She's definitely more social than I am. I keep to myself because that's how I've always been. She drew to an example that if I was at the wedding she would be dancing and I would be standing there watching and she would like me to be dancing with her. She said she isn't trying to change me, but it feels like she's telling me these things because she wants me to change. She said that she's worrying now that if we're compatible and that we don't really do things that we both enjoy together, we mainly do shared stuff, meaning we'll do something she likes and then we'll do something I like. My leisurely activity is going off-roading with groups. She also said that I'm not spontaneous and she doesn't think that's in my personality. That one hurt. I honestly don't know what to do now. We both said that we would try to work it out, but what is there to do when someone tells you that they don't really care about your feelings and that you're boring and not spontaneous? Comment. I would break up with her. She's actively derogating your personality and not cherishing you. She's not accepting you as you are. You deserve better. Honestly, it sounds like you're coming home and complaining about work most days. She might need time to decompress before being told how awful everything is. You say she doesn't ask how your day was, but if it's always bad news, then I'm not really surprised. You might need to get another friend to act as an outlet. Her comment about having fun at the wedding without you suggests to me that she doesn't see you as a happy, fun person, so you might want to examine why that might be. I think she's been clear in telling you what she wants. It's up to you whether you want to work on the relationship or not. You might just not be very compatible. Your personalities are conflicting now because the initial excitement of the relationship has worn off. And people grow and change at your age, so it's really not surprising that this is happening.